Hello and good evening, guys. I hope I am clearly audible and visible to you. Uh, Please give a thumbs up if you can hear me so that I would understand that we can start the session quickly, right? So just give me a quick thumbs up or a quick emoji so that I know that we can start if you can hear me. All right. So today we are going to talk about, yes, thank you, Harshila. So today we are going to talk about cracking USEED and SEED as we have 3 months left. And I know many of you might be having problem in part A क्योंकि एटलीस्ट बैचलर्स की अगर बात करें तो पार्ट ए बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करता है पार्ट ए में. इट कैन डायरेक्टली give you pass or access to IIT, or it can kick you out of the exam altogether. तो how to ace that part A और part A से related बहुत सारे problems लोगों को रहती है. So we are going to talk about all that. What should be your strategy, how to use AI. I hope everybody is using AI these days to, get feedback, prepare questions and whatnot. So how to effectively use AI also we are going to talk about that, and how to utilize the questions. So many times students say कि यार और क्या करें पार्ट ए के लिए और क्या कर सकते हैं. I always say that there are more than 1,000+ questions available just if you go through seed and USEED के वेबसाइट पर पेपर्स में क्वेश्चन पेपर में PYQs में. And the question that they are going to ask in bachelor's max is 60 and in masters 40 questions. तो I am sure कि इतने questions अगर आप कर लोगे वो 1,000 question, I'm sure it is going to help you. But solving question is not enough. It is about understanding the logic, because the logic is repeated, not the question itself is repeated. So if you understand what is the logic, it is definitely going to help you. So how to uh, increase your score in part A? I have with me one of our best mentor we have at Kafel Studio, who is puzzle wizard. That's what we call him, Arpit, and he's going to talk about. So he has been dealing with so many students in part A, and he has seen it all. मैं यही बोल सकता हूँ कि किस तरीके के क्या कौन से स्टूडेंट किस तरीके के रहते हैं, उनको किस तरीके की प्रॉब्लम आती है. So we are going to talk about all that in this session. So I would like to invite Arpit to take over and start directly with the strategy that we have to deliver today. And if you have any question, please drop it in the chat box. We will try and take as many questions as possible throughout this session. And just before we start, I want to do a quick check-in or a vibe check with you. How is your preparation going on, by the way? Give me a quick 1 or 2 words vibe check. That's what I would say. कि कैसी चल रही है आपकी प्रिपरेशन? How would you rate your preparation? Or even maybe if you have a movie ka title that would define your preparation ka status right now, what that would be? What that would be? I will be waiting for some of the replies and then we will start. I'm scoring 49.5 in part B mock. Is it possible to reach 70 within 3 months? Okay, mocks are not the test of your acumen that you will be able to crack exam or not. But yeah, in the mock, if you have been able to keep yourself calm, that is that is basically what you have to test. Shrishti saying better than before. Harshla is saying unimpressive. Ankit, should we prepare for an ID part A for masters? NID part A is you don't have to worry about it if you're preparing for seed and USEED. Like I said, if you're taking up seed questions, you don't have to worry about part A of NID. I'm doubtful if I can do it or not. Is there enough time? Yes, time is enough. Don't worry. It's going good, very good. Vansh is saying. Ashish is saying Tarzan the Wonder Car. That's a good answer. Okay, so Arpit, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Arnav. And I hope everybody is good. And I can see in the comments as well ki people are similarly anxious or a little fearful and all these things that we generally see every time when the exam is approaching. So that is something that happens. And it is all right to think that you are feeling a little fear, you are a little anxious, a little unsure about your preparation. And some of you, as I have just read, that you are a little feeling unimpressive so these are all actually very good things that you are analyzing about yourself and whatever you are thinking about your preparation, that some of you are still starting, some are thinking that it is unimpressive, but that is all right. That shows that you already know where you are and you are aware about it, right? So the first step of doing anything is actually awareness. So if you know where you stand, you can move forward. If you don't know what is happening and you are just doing it random, then the problem comes. So we will look about these things. So in this session, what we are going to do, let me also share the things and let's get starting as well. So in this, we are talking about 3 months strategy for this part A, and in this, I'm very clearly saying ki even if you haven't started yet, it is still possible. That is the first thing that I say to people who start preparation in September or maybe early October, that it is still possible. The only thing that is important is to understand what is happening when you are trying to, suppose I am trying to reach somewhere, and if I don't have any strategy, then I'm not sure. But if you can make any strategy, and we are going to talk about that. So today, what kind of things that we will talk is obviously what approach you need, how you need to think about your preparation. Then I will pinpointly even tell you on a daily basis what you should do. So that also we will look, and that will be a little later, the daily tasks or how you can on a daily basis guide yourself or prepare yourself for that thing. But before that, I'll also tell you what are other important aspects as well to understand the exam well, to get into that mindset that you are going to clear. So we will talk about all those things. And while we are doing it, I absolutely want the engagement of all of you. So you will be engaging with me and I will be talking to you about all these things. So let's get started. And I'm going to start on a very interesting note, actually. So what I'm saying is key setting the mindset. Now, this is probably the most important thing that you have to do before you set yourself on a goal, right? Whatever you want to do, the mindset required for that is actually very important. And generally, I am saying this for so many years now, and I have seen this so many times. Mindset is sometimes the biggest difference between a person who gets in and the person who doesn't, even when their preparation is almost similar. If you have a good mindset, the right mindset, then you can take that extra leap which is required for the examination. So setting the mindset for the examination is one of the important things that you should do, and that starts from now only. So that is something we are going to look at. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one picture on the screen, and I want everybody to tell me, do you remember this particular clip that the picture that I'm going to show, and then we'll discuss our strategy on similar grounds, and we'll talk about that. So for example, this, I hope everybody has seen this. So do you recognize? I want to know in the comment section, first of all, do you recognize this picture, what is happening here and what exactly happened? So you can tell me the film name and then you can tell me what this is about. So I very quickly want to know, and then we'll talk about how things happen. And there is a one very interesting thing that is very similar to what we are going to do. So that thing we'll discuss. But I just want to know, first of all, yes, I can see the comments that it is from Lagan. But can you also tell me ki Sarat Manjoor hai? So what this shart is, what this Sarat Manjoor is, and what they're talking about. They have a goal, they have a strategy, right? So if you have not seen this movie, I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry, but you have to see this movie. Not now, obviously, but whenever you get time, you have to see this movie. But so yes, so right. As I am getting the answers, ki the English people, the person, the captain challenges him, right, to let go of his lagan and all. And what is interesting about it? Can someone tell me how much time when he accepts the challenge? So how much time that captain gives them to prepare for that match that is going to happen? Can someone tell me in the comment section how much time they had to prepare for this particular match? And this is actually a real story also. So I'm not talking about only in fantasy movie world. This actually happened in the history. So how much time was given by a captain to these village people to prepare for this particular match where either they will give triple lagan or their lagan will be called off? So anybody remembers? Anybody can tell me? I can see one or two answers right now, 1 month and all. So interestingly, the time was exactly similar as we are talking today. The time given was 3 months. So this is very similar to what our situation is also. But try to imagine what when they were given this 3 months situation, they had known nothing about cricket, right? They had not played cricket. They knew nothing about cricket. They had just watched sometime, and they were absolutely zero prepared for it. And still, they were able to do it. So, what exactly happened? How could they do it? Can someone tell me in the comments as well? And let's also. So, the first thing that they could do it, even when not everybody, but as Bhuvan was the leader, he believed, right? He believed that he could do it. And that is where everything becomes either accessible or it goes out of your reach. So that is what the first thing is. First of all, right now I am telling you, and you should also put it in your mind that still it is possible. And every year, people who come in September, October, they crack this exam. So first thing is belief. Then what other thing they did very brilliantly? He had a belief, but other few people didn't have a belief, and then they were trying to do it. What is the next thing? They started preparation with whatever they had, right? They didn't wait for the ideal situation, whatever was in their hands, correct? So whatever was in their hands, they started preparation through that. They utilized the circumstances, whatever availability they had, in the best possible way. They did not crib about it that we don't have pads or we don't have beds and all. They started doing it with the best possible thing they could take out from the resources they had, right? Then other thing was obviously they understood who was good at what, correct? They understood who can do what is required. They planned it well. They strategized it pretty good. They used their own players in a particular way. They did not randomly start saying, okay, anybody can bat, anybody does that. In fact, we have shown they shown us ki the person who used to catch those hens and so he was given the charge of ki he can field well because of that, because he was doing that. So they used their tactics, strategies in the way which would be very good, which is required exactly on that particular day. And that is what you should be doing. That is what we are going to talk about, that it does not matter how much is left, how much time is left, and how many questions you do. What is required in the examination, that thing should be there. So, as I say, ki, you have to believe first of all, then let's look at what resources we have for that. And then we have to crack what kind of exam it will be, which we will be talking about. So, I just found it very interesting today. Only I was looking at it and I just saw ki they also had 3 months time. So when they could do it, they had no idea. And you all of you still have a lot of idea about what things are, how this exam goes. At least you are having more resources and everything, right, with you. So this is something I was just trying to put a little collaboration into the movie world, the reality of the past, and how we can do it. But now let's also move to what we are going to do in terms of how to understand the exam, then what strategy we should follow, and how to go about it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and on a monthly basis. So the first step, once you get that mindset, okay, I know I can clear this exam and all of these things, then most important thing in the beginning of starting, or even if you have just started, is to understand the exam pattern and what kind of questions come in the exam, rather than simply trying. I have seen people, see, this is one of the things that has happened a lot of with lot of people, that what people do is they take one book, for example RS Agarwal or any such book, and they randomly start doing anything. That is not how you should do it. Now you should, for example, know ki in the exam there are sections like NAT. In this, numerical type of questions are there. Then section there is a section of MSQ where more than one answers are also possible. Then there is also a section of MCQ. So this is the basic understanding which I hope everybody knows, but this is how you should be taking it. Then you should know ki in the NAT what kind of questions they ask, which we will also discuss today. Uh, just after this, ki how can you identify the questions? How can you understand ki such kind of questions gets repeated and all these things? Sir, seed में question 5 आते हैं, but मेरी drawing, okay, we'll talk about drawing also separately in a session. Right now let's focus on part A. We will look at those, we'll have a session about part B as well, so we'll take from there. We can start. Okay, so that is what I was saying, ki you should be able to now how to understand, how to get this knowledge, ki what comes, how the pattern is, what kind of a psychology, what kind of a approach they are looking for. Then obviously we can look at previous year questions and find it out, right? Now another problem that I have seen people thinking, first of all, everybody thinks this as a maths section, but this is not, as we have discussed it before also, and we'll discuss it today as well, that this is not a section of maths, and this is where your analysis about exam comes, that this is not a math section. Then what sort of topics appear more in this, what sort of topic appear more in this, how much time it takes, and all these things. So the first thing that you have to do, for example, if you are starting tomorrow, is to take 2-3 years paper, just go through them, read the information brochure properly. If right now, for example, if this year's is not there, you can look at the previous year information brochure, read it properly in a way to understand what they are expecting, what kind of segmentation they have done, and then through previous year questions, try to pinpoint some of the topics, which I'll tell you how we can segregate certain topics and how to find it out. Now, why I'm saying this, once you start understanding the pattern of the paper, once you understand, okay, these type of things come in this, these topics come, then in your head, your preparation gets dissected very smoothly, right? And then you can plan according to the topics. So now, thinking about this, let's now, because as I have said, key exam pattern and question topics, so the most important thing which comes out of this practice is, what topics should I do more? Correct? This is what generally the thing comes in our mind. So now I'm going to give you exact list of 10 topics, which are the most important topics, which carry the most important, more number of marks, and that you should be doing first. So we are going to look at those 10 topics, which are absolute must. So let me show you this. Let me show first topic that I pick, and I always say this, ki rotation, flipping, and mirroring kind of topics, they repeat by such frequency ki you will see them in not only every year, but also many questions in a single year. In fact, 3-4 questions are also there mostly in every paper which are from this topic. Now, the point is ki you have to also think ki why they are doing this, because it includes a certain kind of observation. It includes a creativity ki if something is rotated and you have to imagine it, then it needs that creativity, right? In fact, this topic is one of the most important topics for part B as well, because in part B there can be certain things where you need to see ki if you have to take one perspective, then how that thing would look. If it is a little tilted, how that thing would look. Sometimes in question they even describe ki you have to show an object which is tilted that way or something like that, right? So this is a very, very imaginative topic, and whatever topic is imaginative, it becomes very important for part B as well, and also very, very important for part A. I hope you have seen some of those questions where they keep repeating if they have given it. I will show you some questions as well, but let's first look at how the topics are. And this list is not exactly according to the priority of topics, but all 10 of them are important. I've tried to tell what topic you should be doing in the starting so that your base starts building around it. The other important part of rotation, flipping, and mirroring concepts is sometimes even in some other topic questions, these smaller sections will be there within the question. I hope you must have seen. Is there anyone who relies on the? Okay, so OLP free batch is also going on. There are some videos and those will be coming as well. So yes, that will happen. All right. Now let us look at the second topic. It is again cutting and folding. Now this topic is almost our next version of the first topic, right? So in this topic, what happens? They will give you something, they will give some folding, they put one cut, and they will ask you ki when this gets unfold, how this will look like. Now, again, this topic is very creative. In what way? In terms of your own exercise, the mind exercise that is needed. So for this topic, I absolutely suggest it to everyone to do it actually. To do it whenever there is a paper and there is some cut, you should physically take one paper, try to have those foldings in that, then make a cut, then unfold it step by step. Why this is important? This creates reference images for your brain to see how unfolding happens, right? So this is very important in that aspect. Also, when you start understanding something getting unfolded or something getting cutted, how they are going to have this thing, then it unfolds a part of your brain which starts recognizing things in imagination in a better way. And that is the most important part in this exam. You must have seen questions where they give you unnecessary situations so that you get confused. Your mind sometimes is not able to imagine here what they are saying in the question. These exercises will help you so much in that case. So please make sure for cutting and folding, you do physical things with those papers or whatever folding methods that those are given. That will be a big exercise for your brain. Don't just do it or just see the solution somewhere and think that you are getting it. That is very important, right? Can we do the folding of paper in exam after seeing the question? No, the question actually, there is no question paper, na. So they will not ask, let you fold or cut, but uh, that will not be possible. But because you should not have to do it, you don't have to do it there. That's why I'm saying कि you start practicing these things from here only. सत्यम is saying एक महीना तो चीजें figure out करने में चला गया. But that is okay. That is a very good exercise. अगर you are able to figure out some of the things already, then this is good that you have done that. So that particular thing requires a little bit of time, but that is very important because otherwise you will be running just randomly and you will not reach anywhere, right? It will take a lot of time in exam. Oh, yes. So this again, I will come to these topics. This is a very common question ki when I do questions, it takes a lot of time. So what will happen in exam? But exam is not right now. Tomorrow is not your exam, right? So we will talk about ki how we will increase the speed, but that is a second thing. The first thing is to understand the questions. First thing to understand the kind of approaches needed for the questions and those things. So that is how if you do anything creative, for example, if you want to learn drawing or if you want to learn any music instrument or if you want to learn anything, if you want to learn to drive a car, first you start understanding the basics, right? So pehle hi din you don't drive it at 100 kilometer per hour, right? So that is not how you do it. First you learn some basics and then you speed up the process. That we will talk about as well. Let's move to our next topic, which is surface counting. Again, lot of imagination is required. They will give you a figure. There must be something at the back also. There must be something on the right side of it also. There can be different perspective views as well. So this is one of the most important topics. And every year they ask a question on this. So surface counting. Now, for this particular question, what is the exercise that you need to do? You need to draw it. Whenever you see a surface counting question, make sure ki you try to draw the second perspective of it. If they are asking from, if they have given it from the top view, try to make a side view of it. Try to do other things. Try to see it from different perspectives and try to draw it. That will be a very good exercise. And if you start doing it for some time, then you will see ki whenever you see such a question, automatically your brain will start creating images of those perspectives in your for you, and that will be very helpful because that is the point of the question. If you are given something from top view, side view, or whatever, can you still visualize the other perspectives of those? So it is very important, and this will also help in part B a lot. If you can draw these perspectives in such questions, the part B things also gets better. So it is actually a topic which can help you in both ways. Aditya is saying, please be my friend till the exam. So I see we are everybody's friend. That is what we are doing here. That is what we always want to do. So we are your friend, obviously. So you give yourself a little bit of push, and we are there to help you out in everything that we can. So that is how it is working, right? So we will be doing that. This is so good to see. All right, then let's move to the next topic, which is pattern recognition. Pattern recognition, again, you must have seen questions like there are some series given or there is some arrangement given and they will ask you what will be the next thing of it. In pattern recognition, there can be some other topics also where they give you something in one perspective and they keep on changing the perspective in a particular way. That is also a pattern recognition. Sometimes even some particular folding unfolding is also given in a way ki it is a pattern. So pattern recognition is important in terms of the whole design concept. Actually, if you see, if you want to design anything, you will have to understand the flow of things, right? Then the design will come out well, and that is how pattern recognition works, right? Then maximum and minimum. Now, so see, this topic is not exactly a separate topic as in, but this particular thing, ki how do we go for maximum and minimum? This is very important. And I have picked some of the questions which we will deal with after looking at the topics, and we will look at ki what we can do. Now, in these questions, these are questions which are very similar to any other topic, but they introduce these words ki in how many minimum steps can you do this? What is the maximum number of these things you can place? So the mindset required for these questions is a little different in terms of what gets included here. Efficiency, right? When we have to do something, suppose I am asking you to park the car, you can park the car. But if I say ki what is, I have given to some spaces, some particular length or something, ki what is the minimum space you require to park the car, then your efficiency in parking car comes in, right? Then you cannot waste space in parking the car. Similarly, whenever in a question maximum and minimum words appear, you have to understand that they are talking about the highest form of efficiency there. And one thing that always should come to your mind in such topics is that whatever I am thinking is normal procedure to solve, that it can normally be solved like this. If you are thinking, then there has to be something attached to it. A little extra would be there na, to find the maximum efficiency, isn't it? So in such questions, this is the thing you have to understand ki whenever they are asking maximum and minimum, then I have to look for what extra can we find in the question to improve the efficiency. All right. Is it even possible to clear UCID in 3 months? That is exactly what I'm saying, Aryan. It is absolutely possible. Every year, people who join us in September, October, many of the selections every year happens from this time as well. And we have shown the selective people and those things also before. And I can guarantee you, if you follow the strategy that we are discussing, or if you follow the correct way of doing things, 3 months is not a less time to do that. However, then 3 months is also not that much time you can waste, or you can just keep on doing some random things. Or so you have to strategize, you have to follow certain things, and you have to be very, very consistent. If you can do those things, I can tell you very honestly, this exam is crackable in 3 months. So you have to do that. Now, shadows. You must have seen questions relating to shadows are there. Now, why they pick shadows also? For example, shadow is something which we observe in a daily life. Right now, we don't observe it that much because I don't know how many of you go out in sunlight now. But shadows give you a perspective ki when the light source is moving or happening, then how that thing is changing. And they are just checking whether you observe that or not. So there will be questions related to shadows. Now, next question is area figures. We have discussed it many times also. And this is a very important aspect in terms of, I have seen people who are very afraid of this thing, thinking ki it is a mathematics topic and there are a lot of formulas and all, and it is not. We have discussed it. I'll show you a couple of questions differently also today. So this is one of the things which they ask, because they also know ki you are going to solve it mathematically or using those topics, and it is not. It is again a observation based thing. Then perspective viewing, as we have seen it from here also, but separately also sometimes they simply ask ki if something is some photograph is taken from the top perspective, how it would look if we make it on a paper or anything like that. This is very important for part B as well. So whenever you are doing this topic, you have to consider that as well, right? Then we have two more topics, which is font identification and shape fitting. Now these 10 topics are there, which are the most important topics. And if you do them, you cover mostly 75% to 80% of the questions that come in the exam. Now we will also look at what will happen in questions related to that. But let's first also let Aruna come and see how other things can be included among these.
All right. I hope I am audible again to everyone. All right. So some of the students are saying, let us take some questions from the chat box before we get started further. तो किसी ने लिखा कि भाई फ्री के सेशन फ्री जैसे ही होते हैं। तो मैं उनको एक छोटी सी बात बताना चाहता हूँ। What we are talking here right now is the essence of everything that we offer or anyone has to offer or anything that we have to offer in for exam preparation for last 10 years that we have been doing. ये वो 10 साल का निचोड़ है जो हम आपको दे रहे हैं, but only you can say this when you have not even seen the question paper. If you have seen any 2 or 3 years of question paper, uh, बिकॉज सी व्हाट हैपेंस इज हम लाइव सेशन में इफ इट इज अ फ्री का लाइव सेशन जैसे आप लोग बोल रहे हो वी डू नॉट कंसिडर एनीथिंग एज फ्री और पेड whenever we want to take create any session we want to give as much value as possible. Now the point is you are doing on everything on your own, so we want to give a chunk so that even if you watch later on you can refer it back and think कि हाँ यार ये वाली बात इन्होंने बोली थी and it is helpful. सो ये वो चीज है जो कि इसी को पैकेज करके लोग आपको 80,000 90,000 की चपत लगा करके बेचते हैं मार्केट में, एंड दैट्स व्हाट वी वांट टू गिव यू. So if we go further in this, Arpit is going to show you some questions as well. But before we do that, I also want to tell you one more thing. I don't know how many of you are using AI right now. Uh, how many of you are using AI right now to prepare for the exam? If you are using, it is good. But I also want to tell you that relying too much on AI is also not good because उनके बहुत सारी चीजें गलत होती हैं. For example, if you look at अभी भी जितना भी AI डेवलप हो गया, whatever AI is doing, I hope those who are in the chat box they can tell me that the AI is not able to solve part A के questions correctly, चाहे वो seed हो या USEED हो. Have you seen that? If you can give me a thumbs up or just if you have used ChatGPT or other AI to solve question for part A. It is not able to do that, isn't it? Right? So how to use it if it is not doing that? Maybe for part B वो थोड़े इधर उधर के question बना के दे देता है, I'm sure. But how to use it in part A? This is something that I was thinking about, and maybe if I can help you with this, because if you can use AI, then maybe it can help you prepare for exam yourself. Uh, so how to do that? So we tried to do this also because we wanted to get use and use AI for ourselves also if we can. क्योंकि जो यूज नहीं करेगा वही पीछे रह जाएगा. So how to do that? I want to share my screen and want to show you quickly how we use and how you should also use, and how I recommend to every student those who are preparing for exam. So the point is, पहली बात मैं पहले क्लियर कर देता हूँ. The point is कि first preference should be given to seed and USEED questions, nothing else. It is only for the students who have solved ECD UCD questions multiple times and somehow they remember all the answers and they think यार इससे ज्यादा और मुझे कुछ क्वेश्चन चाहिए, तो इधर उधर रैंडमली जस्ट फिगरिंग आउट और रीजनिंग के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने से आपका सीड और यूसीड नहीं निकलने वाला है. सो हाउ टू डू दैट? सो व्हाट यू कैन डू इज आई वांट टू शेयर माय स्क्रीन क्विकली. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. So if I go to, this is USEED question paper. Now let's say I open question paper 2024 and let's say, so these are very visual questions, right? To now ChatGPT cannot, what I want right now is I want to create more questions for myself so that I can practice. Or maybe if I cannot practice, maybe if you have a group of 2 or 3 students, maybe you can challenge yourself among yourself कि भैया हम एक दूसरे को और questions कैसे दे सकते हैं. Because when you are thinking from the question perspective, there's this exercise, and I want to share this with Arpit as well. There is this exercise in one of the universities, I forgot the university right now, in one of the Ivy League university, जिसमें दी असाइनमेंट इज नॉट टू गिव एन आंसर कि हमें एक क्वेश्चन दिया उसका आंसर देना है. द असाइनमेंट इज टू क्रिएट क्वेश्चन फॉर द आंसर. सो उन्होंने एक टॉपिक सब्जेक्ट पढ़ा दिया है और नाउ यू हैव टू ब्रिंग क्वेश्चंस. यू हैव टू क्रिएट असाइनमेंट जैसे कि किसी टीचर को आंसर सॉल्व करने हैं. सो व्हेन यू थिंक फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ क्रिएटिंग क्वेश्चन, यू आर थिंकिंग फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ द एग्जामिनर. पजल सॉल्व करने के लिए, टू बिकम अ पजल मास्टर, आई डोंट नो कि आपको इस वक्त ये लग रहा होगा कैसी बातें कर रहे हैं, बट पजल सॉल्व करने के लिए वेर देर इज नो सिलेबस कि आपने 100 क्वेश्चन भी कर लिए तो ऐसा डिफाइन नहीं है कि उसी के ऊपर कुछ आ जाएगा. पजल सॉल्व करने के लिए यू नीड टू हैव अ माइंडसेट, जो हम बात कर रहे हैं फ्लेक्सिबल माइंडसेट होना चाहिए. दैट दैट बिल्ड्स when you think from the examiner's perspective. Now, how do you think from the examiner's perspective? The easiest way is to frame your own questions. There is a whole week dedicated to this when we do in our C2D program or in whatever courses we do. There is a whole week dedicated to only creating questions. We ask students to create questions and then we solve those questions in the class. So, and you know what students have told us so many times, those who have been able to crack exam, कि भाई जब से आपने वो क्वेश्चन फ्रेम करने वाली चीज बताई तब से मेरा दिमाग दूसरी तरफ चलने लगा. सडनली यू विल सी व्हाट यू हैव क्रिएटेड एंड हाउ स्टूडेंट्स आर सॉल्विंग दैट क्वेश्चन. मैंने क्या सोच के बनाया था वो तो कुछ और ही सोच से सॉल्व करते हो. This is when eureka moment happens. So what we can do is, if you are solving question, let's say there is this question number 11. Okay. So what I can do is, now AI will not be able to solve this visual puzzle. So what I can do is I can take a screenshot of this and I will put this in ChatGPT and I will ask simple. If I take the screenshot, I hope my screen is visible. Is it visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Okay, okay. So if I ask ChatGPT just to give me maybe two or let's say three questions, uh, or I can say three, three questions in on the same logic with new, let's say, figure. So the point is, I am again and again I'm repeating this. What is the point that we have to keep in mind? It is the logic on which the question is built. So this logic is repeated again and again. If you'll see what Arpita has been talking about, कि वो वही logic लेकर आया है. When he was saying कि surface counting and all, he was talking about the logic itself. So this logic is repeated. So we have to keep in mind कि वो logic में समझ जाओ. So can this give me three questions on the same logic with new figure? But I will not ask ChatGPT to create new figure yet. Okay, don't or do not generate the figure. Just give me detailed description of the figure. That's it. Let's keep it very simple right now. We can, so what I can do is I can give you a full chat, full prompt जिसके की बाद में वो एक बार में ही दे देगा. But generally what I have seen is, if you want to work with AI, do not treat AI as your subordinate. ट्रीट एआई एज योर कलीग. मतलब जितना आपको आता है ये मान के चलो कि उससे तो ज्यादा ही उसको पता है. सो वी विल आस्क देम इन लेयर लेयर में हम बात करेंगे. ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट आई विल गिव कि इसका मेरे को गिव मी थ्री क्वेश्चंस ऑन द सेम लॉजिक विद अ न्यू फिगर. ओके. और जब मैं क्वेश्चन भी उससे मांग रहा हूं, आई विल से डोंट give me full questions yet, just a one liner. What question? So I will decide कि ये कैसा उसने किया. Question is about, let's say, and let's see on this question. So shown below are the two stacked paper cubes and a box with their dimension. आपने question ही पढ़ लिया होगा. Let me show this. Shown below are two stacked paper cups and a box with their dimension. If stacking is allowed, then what is the maximum number of cups that can be stored in the box without deforming the cups? इन cups को इसके अंदर stack करना है तो कितने रख सकते हैं, ये question ने दिया. अगर इसी के ऊपर हमें और क्वेश्चन, वैसे मेरे को खुद याद है कि इसके ऊपर कितने सारे क्वेश्चन सीड ऑलरेडी और यू सीड में ऑलरेडी क्वेश्चंस अवेलेबल हैं. बट नाउ सी what it will give. A rectangular question number one is rectangular box and a set of stackable cylindrical tins with taper are given. If stacking is allowed, fixed overlap, maximum number. Cuboidal container कर दिया उसने. Square box stackable ice cream cups कर दिए उसने, जो कि फ्रस्टम की शेप का है, with a given top and bottom diameters. अब अगर मैं इसको बोलूंगा कि let's say कि give me let's go for question number for question 3. Give me exact question, but again no figure, just description of the figure. इतनी तो स्पेलिंग तो मेरे ख्याल में समझ ही लेगा वो. Shown below is a square box and a set of stackable ice cream cups. First them with their dimension. If stacking is allowed, determine the maximum number of cups that can be stored in the box without deforming them. Figure description: the box is a square. ये उसने figure दे दिया box का. तो now what I can even ask is give me Sora prompt to. अब हम वैसे you can if you have solved questions, why don't you create this figure yourself and then try to solve the question? But what I can right now do is give me Sora prompt to create this figure. So now it will give me a prompt, which it should give, I think. Yeah. A clean. तो इसने मेरे को पूरा prompt दे दिया है. Now if I put this prompt in Sora, I think it will be able to generate this image. I think मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है. Let's see. So that's it. Now let it build this and I will come back on this. थोड़ा time लगेगा उसमें. So if you, by the time if we'll take some questions if they have. Yeah. So I tried using AI, getting more questions, but AI always failed to survive there. So like I said, you don't have to use AI to solve it for you. If you start asking AI to solve it for you, there is one biggest problem or the major problem that you are doing right now is that you are relying on AI to solve it. The point is you have to develop your mindset to solve the question. Eventually एग्जाम में तो आपको जाके सॉल्व करना है ना. तो अगर आप एआई पे रिलाई करने लगोगे तो आप तो अपना दिमाग चलाना ही बंद कर दोगे. So the point is you have to use AI to give you questions and you have to solve the question. Right? That would be the best way. But most of us get lured into कि एआई मुझे सॉल्व करके दे दे. भाई अगर एआई सॉल्व करके दे देगा तो वो एग्जाम क्रैक कर लेगा. फिर आप क्यों ही जा रहे हो? फिर आज आप एआई से एग्जाम्स के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करा रहे हो, पर एआई आपको जॉब से भी निकाल देगा. द पॉइंट इज यू हैव टू बी स्मार्टर देन दैट. राइट? तो आप उसको यूज करो टू मेक योर सेल्फ smarter. That's what I believe. If this is helpful, so you can use this to frame as many questions as possible, and then you can use your friends, a group of friends, to challenge these questions among yourself. Right? I hope those who are saying कि फ्री की क्लास फ्री जैसी होती है, आई होप कि उनके पेड कहीं पर भी इंडिया के पेड क्लासेस में भी ये वाली बात कोई आपको बताएगा नहीं. जस्ट क्योंकि मुझे वो बात थोड़ी सी लग गई कि यार वी ट्राई टू गिव एवरीथिंग एंड देन स्टूडेंट से लाइक दिस, तो अच्छा नहीं लगता. बट एनीवेज आई विल ट्राई टू ब्रिंग एज मच वैल्यू एज पॉसिबल टू ऑल ऑफ यू. एक दो लोग तो उनको कुछ भी दे दो तो उनको अच्छा नहीं लगता. एनीवेज, बट अर्पित, यू कैन कंटिन्यू एंड आई विल शेयर द image as soon as Sora creates the image. I will share it with you.
Okay. Okay, so now that you know how to make more questions, but before that, that was a caveat which Arnav specifically mentioned there, ki don't go for this, but if you have not solved the actual PYQs as yet. So don't start thinking ki I will only do questions which I make from Chat GPT. That exercise is for the time when you have done at least your PYQs and you think now ki I have done those questions in a way, or how should I get it? More questions like that. At that time, you have to use it, not in the starting. Yes
So
or no? आ
this
गया क्या?
is this is what AI has created. जैसा उस क्वेश्चन में था. सो द क्वेश्चन इज रेडी. आई मीन देर माइट बी सम माइनर चेंजेस जो अगर हम बैठ के देखेंगे सो इट कैन बी डन. एंड दिस इज हाउ वी कैन क्रिएट. सो बेस्ड ऑन द सेम लॉजिक एट द सेम लेवल जो कि आईआईटी का लेवल था, नाउ आई कैन प्रैक्टिस 2 or 3 more questions on the same logic जो आईआईटी ने क्रिएट किया था. सो इफ यू रियली वांट टू क्रैक दिस एग्जाम, आई थिंक the resources are out there. You just have to do it and nobody is stopping you. That's what I believe. I mean, इससे clearly what else I can show you. Okay, please continue.
बढ़िया बनाया वैसे.
Hmm.
How to stay motivated? We will talk on that as well. So see, whatever we are doing just to counter this, all these things that we are talking about, कि how you should understand the exam. These are the things which will make you motivated. It will keep you motivated because you will feel like ki you are there understanding the exam and you are going in the right direction. That's how motivation comes. If you plan something, if you make a strategy and you achieve smaller targets, that gives you motivation. So that is exactly why I am saying ki not to do random preparation. That will never keep you motivated. So we will talk a little more about it. Let's continue with what we were doing, and let us also look at, as we have discussed these topics already, उसके हिसाब से let us also see ki what kind of question, why I am talking about these things. So let us look at it. So for example, before moving to further more questions, I just wanted to show ki how they will give you a question which looks like a mathematics question, which will make you think in that way ki I have to apply so many logics or so many formulas or anything like that. So now let us look at this topic, read it I'm going to read it also. Meanwhile, you people try to solve it and give me the answer in the chat, and then I'll show you ki how they are doing it. So they are saying the figure shows an urban road map of a city. The boundary of the city is a perfect rectangle, as they have shown it with the dotted lines as well, as indicated by the black dotted line. The gray lines indicate the major roads that run parallel to the edges of the city. Now they are showing if they run parallel and all these things. The red line shows the route taken by a bus from point P to point Q. So as we can see, the route taken, it is starting from here and reaching here, and it is randomly going anywhere in between. In the end, they are saying if the perimeter of the boundary is 68 kilometers, what is the distance traveled by the bus in kilometers? So for this path, you have to calculate what is the distance traveled by this bus. So I want to know if you people can solve this and how you are going to solve it. So I am giving you just 20-30 seconds. And you can, even if you don't understand the answer or if you are not getting the answer, you can tell me at least in the chat what you think about this, how you think you will solve it. Even if you don't solve it completely, how you are going to solve it is what matters, not the exact answer. I can see some of you have already given the answers, but try to just think. If you have not solved this question before, just try to think ki what you are going to do. I'm just giving 10 more seconds. Ashish is saying calculating the diagonal. Yeah, but it is random also. So how will you know ki it is diagonal and all? Why would you calculate the diagonal also? So that reason also you can give, but I can see what you're because it is going diagonally. So that's why you're saying ki we can calculate the diagonal, but the path is a little haphazard. It is not constant in its way. So many of you have given the answer. So I am hoping ki you understood it. Some people might have already solved it. So now see, when we start looking at it, the concern that we start getting in such question is ki how do we calculate this? How do we calculate this? How do we calculate all these smaller things? What formula should I apply? So many people think ki we can apply this somewhere, we can apply this, or we can apply this. We can use some of the Pythagoras theorem and all these things, right? Now the point is, see how smartly they have created this illusion, and that is the point of the question. The point of the question is not to see ki whether you know the formula of mathematics or not, right? That is not the point. So why I am asking these things from you, why I am telling these things from you, when you see a question, do it from tomorrow itself. When you see a question, try to imagine ki why they are asking this question in a design exam. What must be they want to check. It cannot be ki they want to check ki whether we are very good at mathematics formula or not, right? That cannot be the criteria. They don't want mathematicians to come there, right? So what can be the criteria why they are giving a question? And because there is an image involved, I am saying this, I have been saying this for so long. Whenever you see a image in the question, you have to be very careful about the observation part of it. Now look at this. What they have done is, suppose, for example, this is the horizontal line, this is the horizontal line, this is the horizontal line. Now suppose we press all these horizontal lines to the bottom. So this line, this will come here, this thing will come here, this thing will come here, this thing will come here. Now can you see what they have just done? If we press all of them, this actually makes this complete base. All of these will combinedly make this only, right? So they have just created an illusion ki it is a random haphazard path, but it is not. So it is this complete line. Similarly, if we see all the vertical ones, they will, if I press them towards the right, they will become this, right? Now you know ki this and this, that is what they want you to find. And in the question itself, they have given ki the parameter of the boundary is 68 kilometers. So that means this hole is 68. And now you have to calculate this plus this. So see, this is exact half of this. No? There are four sides and they want you to tell what is the distance in two sides. So actually we only need to find this plus this. That would be 68 divided by 2. That is 34. The question is solved. Within 10 seconds, the question can be solved. Right? So very easy question. But in exam scenario, this can look tough if you have not given attention to the observation part. Right? Suppose a question like this comes and you have not figured these things out, then in exam what would you do? You will apply mathematics, you will apply different formulas and whatnot, and then this question becomes very difficult. So this is how they want to trick you. See, in the question they are deliberately writing it like it is very mathematical, runs parallel to the edges of the city and all these things. They have given 4 or 5 lines of detailing so that you start believing that it is a question of mathematics, but it is not. And this is exactly the same thing that happens. Right? I hope this makes some sense. Now let us also look at couple of more topic questions. As I said, shadows question is there. Now see, these questions look very, very similar in themselves. They are questions from different year papers. And you can try to think ki if I solve one, if I understand the concept they are looking for in one of the questions, then obviously I can apply the logics in the other questions as well. For example, if we look at this question, let's try to solve this particular question. So what they are asking is simply ki when the light rays are falling on that sphere, which option would be the correct representation of the shadow? Now they have given you options. Let's try to solve this very quickly. You can just do it. If you can pick one important detail, the question is over, right? So how do we go about it? I just give you 10-15 seconds to give me the answer, and then I'll tell you ki where they play. Most of the times they will play at that particular point. If you can understand that thing, it gets solved. So many people, I can see only one answer. Right? Let's try to solve it very quickly. Let's see what is the difference. See, and whenever you solve a question from MCQ, MSQ, always look at the options to understand the question. Options give you so many hints. They are your friend. Don't do this mistake ki you just read the question, you start solving, and then finally you will check which option is correct. So I can see two answers here, mostly either A or C. And this is where mostly the question is confused about. So these two options look very close to each other. And this is where whole confusion is about. Now, before I try to think whether A would be correct or C would be correct or what would be the actual shadow of the question, let's look at option. How do we get hint from the question itself? Where we have to look. So if we watch these two options, now suppose we are stuck in these two options, I am not sure whether A will be there or C will be there, but I can definitely say B will be wrong and D will be wrong. That is so is obvious, right? B and D, this kind of a thing cannot be there. It will be something like this, a little elongated, and obviously this kind of a thing cannot be there. So we know B and D is wrong. Now in A and C, let's see what is the difference in the option rather than thinking what will be the correct solution. Let's see the difference in the option. So the only difference is this plus mark in A is a little right, or we can say the shadow is starting from a little left. In this one, it is exactly where the shadow is starting, right? So this plus mark must be this mark, na? Because of this, so it must be here. See? So what basically we have to figure out is on the left of this mark, will there be some shadow, or there will be no shadow on the left of it. So let's try to see that point in question. That means this is the point. Now try to tell me now whether there will be a shadow here or not. And that can give us the direct answer. Now tell me, is it clear how we can utilize the option itself to understand ki where we have to focus in the question? We first found out ki two options are close, others we have eliminated because obvious reasons. Now suppose we are stuck in two options. So from the option, we took out ki this is the difference. So let me see whether there will be some shadow here also. So now we can easily say that there will be some shadow. Obviously, the rays, when these rays will fall here. So for this part, where will the shadow go? It will come here only, right? The shadow will be here because there is a gap on the ground. If the ground was, there was no gap, then there would have been no shadow, but there is a gap. So for this particular part, the shadow will be formed here. And because of this, we can easily say now that A is the correct option. So this is how you can actually get hints from options. I hope this made sense, right? Can everyone tell me ki this was making sense? I can see some of you are still doubtful whether C or A would be there. But now after this, can you people tell me that it made sense or it helped in understanding how we can do it, right? So that is how you have to do it. All right. So Arnav, you want to show something else, Abhi? Okay. Now let us also look at, as see, now this question is there. Why these similar questions are coming? That means they must be looking for one particular thing in something in them, right? So in these, for these questions, you don't have to go and study physics now. Just try to understand what they are trying to do. So basically, even if we look at any of these questions, this happens in our daily life, right? We do use such kind of instruments in our home and all. So in such instruments, why the thing is placed somewhere here and why the handle is given so far away? So if we try to imagine it in a way, ki suppose there is a door, right? And this door is hinged from this side, for example. So where do we put the handle of the door to open or close? Do we put it here or do we put it here? Now, if you are observing these things, so for example, this, if this is A and this is B, we obviously know that the handle of the door is put at position P. Why? Because more distance you have from that point, the less effort it will require. Try to imagine if you are pulling and pushing this door from A position, then you will require a lot of effort, right? So if you are observing these things, such question become very easy. This is exactly the same question, that from where you are putting the pressure and from where that fulcrum or that position is, where the load is, that distance must be long. Just apply this logic. See, if you observe, if you have observed your door properly, then these questions become accessible. This is very easy, and they keep giving these same topics. Now, if, as I said, ki maximum, minimum, now you can see many questions, very, very similar questions every year, right? We have discussed them, so I'm not discussing them again. We have discussed them last time also in one of the questions. Now, let us try to look at this particular question, which is similar to what we are doing. Now, in such a question, I have seen people using a lot of trigonometry and I don't know what not. But this I am giving you as something without using any trigonometry, without using anything. This can be solved just if you can extend a little more creativity in terms of ki how you can change the shape of this figure. So if you can do that, this can be done very easily without any mathematical formula, without any trigonometry, nothing. So for this, I am giving you a hint कि you can use something in this figure. We are not solving it right now because then it would take a little longer, but I'm just showing you that people start using this trigonometry. Ki from the center, we can put it like this. And then they start using this is 30, this is 60, so cos 10, they start using it. But let's solve it without using anything. Now, suppose they are saying in the question that the perimeter of this circle is 10. Oh, sorry, the circumference of the red circle is 10. Huh? And they have said ki perimeter of this triangle is equal to the perimeter of this triangle, in this hexagon. Correct? Now why we are comparing hexagon with triangle? So let's make this also a triangle. So we can do this, right? If I extend this, now see this figure has also become a triangle, correct? Now we have this triangle and we have this triangle. Now if we take equal parameters, for example, so if let us for our easy way, let's take parameter as 30 so that every side is 10. In the hexagon, how many sides are there? 6. So that will also be 30 according to the question. So every side will be 5. Correct? All these sides would be 5. Now let us see if this is 5. Now if I, as we do that every time, we can divide the hexagon into equilateral triangles. Now see, this question is over. If this is 5, then for this triangle also this would be 5. And for this imaginary triangle also this would be 5. So what will be the side of the bigger triangle now? It will be 15, correct? 5, 5, 5. So this whole is 15. Similarly, this will be 15 and this will be 15. So basically, the question has now become, we have two triangles. One is this. Its one side is 10 and we have another triangle. Its one side is 15. We have a circle here and we have a circle here. So now tell me, is it not that we have just zoomed out or we have just extended this triangle to make it bigger? So everything will elongate equally, right? If we take one figure and we stretch it equally from every side, it will increase equally. So how many times the side has increased? The 10 became 15. That means the increment in the, try to think it in a way, you have an image and you are just maximizing or increasing the size of the image. So 1.5 times you have increased. So this circle is also inside it only, na? So this will also increase 1.5 times, isn't it? So what was the parameter of this circle or the circumference? 10. So what will be the circumference of this circle? 15. Isn't it? So this is how you have to take it, ki everything is extending. We did not use any formula. We did not use any trigonometry at all. We just improvised a little through observation. Ki why not make this also a triangle? And then just see ki how many times triangle is increasing. The same times this will also increase. So these gets over just in 10-20 seconds if you can do that. And but this will require a little bit of practice, and that is what I have told, for example, in such questions, ki what you should do. It is the same thing, right?
Yeah. So I think you got an idea how to solve part A question now. The point is using formulas and relying on logic जो कि जिसका कोई sense नहीं बनता है is something that you have to get rid of. You have to first understand why they are asking their question that is asked in part A. ये डिजाइन के एग्जाम में क्यों पूछा गया, and then think about it that the question is, if you want to become a designer, it is all about observation and how visually you can see things. So that is when that eureka moment happen and you start solving questions for part A. This is what Arpit wanted to show you today. And I will take up some question, but before that, I just want to wrap up with a small marketing wali thing that is without which we cannot complete. Otherwise, whole team will say कि भैया बात बिना बताए आ गए. So we will be starting our accelerator batch. I know some of you might not be able to afford it. No problem. Those who can, please go through our accelerator batch, which will be starting for USEED and NID both. So what we have done is we have our C2D program, which is called Connect to Design, which is our flagship program. We put our heart into that program, right? But generally, then students come कि भाई मेरे को तो सिर्फ IIT में ही जाना है, which is not a good way of thinking. But then there are students who want to do that. So for that reason, हम 5 से ज़्यादा कोर्ट लेते ही नहीं है C2D. When towards the end, we divide it into accelerator program, which is for USEED, NID अलग. NID में ही NIFT भी included है. So if you are interested in some kind of feedback or sessions, जैसा भी आपने अर्पित के देखे, we generally try to curate sessions जिसमें कि Arpit is not going to solve the question because he is not giving the exam. We want you to solve questions like this in a similar way. And that's how we curate our live session. So anyone interested can go through our program, which is starting from Sunday. And you can ask our counselors, they will revert back to you. All right. We have both for NID and UCET. Okay, we'll take some questions quickly. What should we do for GK, history and English, and what's their weightage? Very less weightage for GK. I have already said GK can be divided into two parts, static and dynamic. Static is the part which is history, जो कि हो चुकी है, जो कि कल्चर वाले पार्ट में आता है. That is something can be extended, वो ज्यादा पूछा जा सकता है. You should focus on that. जो डायनेमिक जीके है, जो कि हर साल चेंज हो रही है, किसको अवार्ड एंड क्या मिला, उसको आप थोड़ा सा कम करो. ह्यूमन एनाटॉमी पे वीडियो चाहिए. ओके, वी हैव ऑलरेडी क्रिएटेड ह्यूमन एनाटॉमी पे, बट वी कैन डू अगेन इफ यू वांट. But if you go to our, let me share my screen once again and show it to you what I want to share. I think some of the students are not aware about.
I also want to say one thing. I can see many people are right now writing about ki on a daily basis, how many questions should we do and all these things. So just after this, that is where my session would be about. So we will discuss, just after this, we will discuss the daily things and all. So I will take care of all these doubts that are coming right.
Yeah, so if you go to our YouTube video, I mean the channel, and if you go to the live session, guys, if you can see my screen, there are so many topics. Every topic that you can think of for design exam, we have already conducted, for example, storytelling, ratio to time work, shading, cubes and dices. This will include human as well, I'm sure. वो सारी चीजें हम already cover कर चुके हैं. But we will want, so interactive figure drawing, for example, and we have shown it drawing. So if you can go through that, एक घंटे का सेशन है ये सारा. If you can go through them, they are already, अपने आप में वो इतना है कि आप already rank 1 ला सकते हो इस साल. To be honest, जैसे सरफेस काउंटिंग पे डेडिकेटेड सेशन है. सो व्हाट वी वर थिंकिंग कि हम उन्हीं सेशंस को रिपीट नहीं करना चाहते हैं. सो फॉर दैट रीजन व्हाट वी आर ब्रिंगिंग एवरी टाइम इज समथिंग न्यू विच वाज नॉट देयर. वरना तो मैं दोबारा से मनीष को या फिर अर्पित को बोलूंगा कि दोबारा ड्राइंग फंडामेंटल्स पे ले लो. दे कैन कम एंड डू दिस अगेन एंड अगेन. बट वी डिड इट लास्ट ईयर ओनली, सो वी वांट टू मेक इट समथिंग न्यू दिस टाइम. तो वो तो अभी फ्रेश है. मे बी आफ्टर 1 or 2 years वी कैन revisit them and make something new. That's what we are thinking. But if you have any feedback in terms of what extra topics we can cover, definitely we would want to include that. Okay, but I think we have already covered everything that is required from exam perspective, right? Please go through that and you will find everything that is relevant. Okay. All right. Arpit, we will have to wrap this up quickly. So if I will request you to please share whatever you have to.
Okay, so I just have to tell them that last thing ki on a daily basis, what, because that is the doubt everybody is asking. So for example, in last 3 months, you can divide it in 3 months very quickly. I'm just saying, for example, in October, you try to build on foundation. I'm still saying when you build on foundation, whatever we have just discussed, that is where you should focus on. Then in November, you have to work on speed. Don't try to go for speed right now. For building foundation, what we should do? PYQs. As I say, first just go through PYQs. And somebody asked the question in the chat as well. Should we do all the PYQs? See, if possible, obviously you should do all the PYQs, but that is not what you should go for. You should not try to do more questions without understanding the ones that you are already attempting. So even if you do 5 questions, make sure you understand everything in those questions. That is how you should go. And accordingly, you make a plan. If possible, do all. But even if you are doing 300 out of 1000 or 1200, those 300, you should know the approach. That is what the point is. Then the third month that I have kept is for after NID. That is from December 23rd to January 5th. At that time, you just have to analyze what you have done and revise some of these things again and again. So while in month 1 and 2, what you would be doing, make sure you keep making notes on where you are getting something wrong. For this, how you can go daily about it is, I have said start with 5 questions at least on a daily basis, at least 5 for the starting. And in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, let it go to 10 to 15. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about PYQs right now. I'm not talking about any random. Once you are done with PYQs, by that time, your speed would be automatically so much. So don't worry about it. Right now, at least 5, keep it moving in 2 weeks up to 15. Then I would say one activity at least every 2 days. Activity, what we just discussed. The folding question is there, so I am doing it with the paper. Perspective question is there, so I'm making drawing for that. And then, just a second. Know what happened? Yeah. And then one test per week. Now, this is the mistake which many people do, that they think I will give test in the end. Don't do that. Test is a part of preparation, not judgment. Do the test, analyze it, then again go back to the preparation that you were doing. So this is generally daily and weekly targets I wanted to say. Start it this way. Make sure you are consistent. Give 2 to 3 hours every day, and don't skip. Don't do this thing I will do study 2 days and then will not do anything for 5 days. That will not work. You have to do daily, right? So this is what you have to do. That is what I wanted to say. And then obviously one of the important thing is work on your sleep cycle also. That thing people don't consider it, but it affects, because the exam is going to be in the morning. It will not be in the evening or something like that. So people who have a habit of being awake whole night and they wake up at 11 or 12, please make sure you start changing it slowly, so that you go into that mode. By the time you reach November, make sure at 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. you are doing some questions, because that is the time the exam will be happening. So that is also very, very important. Don't take it lightly. And then there can be certain mistakes which everybody do. I have seen people who just solve what they are good at. They keep pushing the topic away where they feel a little afraid. Don't do that. Try to understand those questions in the beginning. What you are good at can be tackled, and then obviously people give mocks or tests sometimes, or even if you are just solving 5 or 10 questions from PYQs, they just check the answers whether they have got right or wrong, and they never analyze it again. Please make sure you visit the question again at least after 2 3 days, if not right at that moment. That will give you a lot more. Sometimes it will happen while you were solving, you could not think much, but when 2 days later you again revisited the question, you will be able to see that now you are able to think differently. So make sure you do these things. Is it okay, everyone? On a daily basis, what you have to do, and then weekly targets, and then analysis of the test or PYQs that you are doing. That is a must. Unless you do it daily, then it will be a problem. Because design, as we say, is a part of life. It is a way of life. It is not something which is like a skill that you can develop in 15 days and then forget about it. That is not possible. You have to live it, you have to observe it on a daily basis and keep practicing on a daily basis, and that's how it works. So this is generally what I wanted to say about what you can do, what mistakes you should avoid on a daily basis, what you should do, and then how you get together the whole perspective of the exam and build your strategy, and then later work on your speed as well. So this is what my way of doing is. I hope it has helped. Are there any questions as well?
So I am taking some of the questions now for
Hmm.
part B. How many hours? So it is not about hours. I think uh, it is not about hours. कि आप अपना एक वो बना लो कि number of sheets में भी number of questions में भी and then let it go flow के साथ उसमें जाने दो, है ना? For part B, yeah, we will taking some sessions for part B. No, don't worry about it, है ना? Part B के लिए तो मैंने बोला number of sheets आपकी decide होनी चाहिए. पूरे दिन में 3 छोड़ो पूरा because you are a dropper. Okay. I think we have answered most of the questions. I don't think there is anything that somebody is asking what will be there. Okay, so you are saying accelerator program costs this much. Yeah, so if you look at the accelerator program, we have included everything in accelerator program. This includes test series, this includes live sessions for 1 month and crash course, and everything is included in that. Also, what happens in crash course, it is the 10 days condensed accelerator program is condensed in 10 days. You can talk to our counselors to get to know about everything else. Okay, in detail. Any question that is left from the preparation point of view? Ashish is saying, I'll pour my heart into these preparation for now. Very good. That's the spirit. That is what we're looking for. How should I approach solving this? The core concept, I think that is taken. Okay, okay. Should I join an idea, etc., as well, or only seed is enough? Uh, this is up to you. We are giving. I mean, we want you to join both because if you look at the prices for one, we are charging 21 but for the two, we are only charging 28 because the longer you stay with us, that is what we believe, and that's why we reduce the cost for our program where we give access to both the accelerator, because the longer you stay with us, that is the opportunity we get to help you improve your mindset. And if you improve your mindset, that is the chance that you crack exam. So that's what we believe. And that's why we give this That's how we curate our courses also. So thank you everyone for joining. Aditya is saying sorry for what happened. Thank you everyone for joining, and I hope this session was of some value to you. We will come back uh, and bring up more topics. GK, जैसे बोला श्रुति ने, yes, we will talk about GK as well, but that will be towards the end of October, not right now. That is the right time to start GK. Thank you everyone for joining once again, and we'll come up with more sessions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.